Click the links for Odysee via chute to support channel coffee or to join the channel and get a shiny new icon. Social media is a weapon to shape a false perception of reality to uphold the elite power structure. Alright, so this is not about Chris Chan, but I'm going to use him as a brief example. Not the details of the social media stuff, because his corner of the internet is just bottom feeding, just dark places. But what it says about society, a peak Weimar commercial zone America, to be at this level of degeneracy. Chris Chan, this incident, and a bunch of other stuff. If you don't know the details of the Chris thing, just think of it as some public degeneracy that I think was on, he had a YouTube channel. I don't know if that's still up. It's about 30 seconds of watching him is about all I can take. It's odd that right-wing news channels get kicked off or demonetized. Take a look at Salty, try to super chat him. But all other manner of filth and degeneracy is perfectly acceptable on YouTube. Oh, geez, trans kids, anyone? Desmond is amazing! No, not really. The right-wing people who are trying to push back against this are the ones who get censored, which default kind of makes social media a pusher of degeneracy, which I guess we knew that for a while. It's like there are three sides to, say, gangster rap, for example. One side says they're holding a mirror up to society. The other side says it's the artists who are pouring oxygen into this engine that's headed for destruction to grow the violence. And the third side says that it's the music industry pushing the violence to help destroy society while themselves getting rich. Social media is a tiny mirror that reflects naturally occurring degeneracy. Fair enough. But a larger part is the incredible power of social media to control behavior and manipulate people. Oh, these are the archived. Someone archived the comments from that incident, and they put them on archive.is, which they're friggin' hysterical. Even if it's nothing more nefarious than these social media companies banning right-of-center voices, which results in left-of-center voices coming to the forefront, it gives far-left, dangerous, alt-left, extreme hate a place to thrive. It leads kids to think that these far-left hate views are more common than they really are. But you have to add in the other factors. The schools are controlled and run by far-left sociopathic Marxists who are brainwashing the kids with anti-white hate propaganda. Even the teachers' union is controlled by Weingarten, an insane globalist who didn't want to go back to school. The universities are absolutely nuts. They're even worse. It's where they're the source of most of this stuff. So social media is a petri dish that is perfect for growing the filthy bacteria of globalism. Thankfully, we have laser beams and atomic hellfire bombs in the form of alt media and some based individuals. If you think I'm based, which I am, but there are millions of people like me and millions of people way further than me. And we also do our best to wake up the normies, but we and our hate facts keep getting kicked off the platforms because facts make them insane with rage. If you saw that video of the trans person who went to the Star Wars shop, he was insane with rage when confronted with reality. That's why the pronoun thing is so important to them. They want you to participate in their delusion, even against your will. They have this incredibly fragile fantasy world built up in their mind that is so easy to shatter. Like, if merely speaking the truth can cause Antifa to riot outside your shop, then clearly the problem isn't with the words spoken, but the mindset of the violent rioters. Now, does Antifa really care about pronouns? Not so much. They care more about using fear and intimidation to scare people into submission. That's a slippery slope. Yeah, we've been slipping for 40 years. They're concerned about what their puppet masters have planned in the future. In this case, the 75-year-old guy had a sign in his shop that had an expression that the trans councilman wanted to censor. So he goes in there with a second guy videotaping the whole thing, and he tries to intimidate this little old man into silence. Normies have to be looking at this giant, 45, 50-year-old guy in a dress yelling at this tiny 75-year-old Vietnam veteran. And normies are finally starting to realize that the society cannot function under this alt-left tyranny of soft Marxism, nucleated by crazy people but propagated by social media. If every time one of these crazy people sees something that offends them, where they know they can exert some control, they hold a protest outside a store that very well could turn violent like it has in the past. The trans person, there was a spa in California, I think San Diego or LA or something. 2 or 3 people got stabbed in those riots. One of them was Antifa stabbing Antifa in a case of a friendly fire incident because they didn't virtue signal loud enough, so they just started stabbing. Then society is sort of at an impasse. It's saying that a multicultural society, a diversity of thought society, a live and let live one, doesn't work, which it doesn't. Mentally ill and drug-addicted people have discovered the power of covering their face and unleashing their inner sociopath. I think Aidan Paladin went into that a long time ago. If not, she would be the perfect one to go over it. The states, the cities could have nipped this in the bud. They still can't stop it anytime they want. It's pretty easy to stop. You just send the police in there and you tell them to stop it any way they have to. It's like, okay, we'll get it done. They don't want to. The West Coast, California, Oregon, Washington, is run by commies. They want people scared of Antifa and BLM burning their stores down. They want sheep compliant under the authoritarian thumb. Antifa and BLM are just the useful idiots. When they're no longer useful, they will be destroyed, put up against a wall, comrade, and given a cigarette. You have a lot of things working together to destroy America and deprive you of your rights. One of them is the Wu flu, of course, but social media has also made the year-long riots possible. It's allowed kids who are to the left of the bell curve, and kids and adults who are ruled by emotions, not logic, a chance to essentially have low IQ stream of consciousness social media accounts where stimulus is processed through a feelings box to go right to response, i.e. riot, or say something that's inflammatory that inspires another low IQ person to violence. Twitter has a large collection of village idiots, filthy globalists, and people who are ruled by emotions. People who, if they had to communicate face to face, you would immediately ignore or possibly pepper spray because they're in a bathrobe at 3 in the afternoon and they smell like weed and depression. These are crazy single cat ladies who most people would feel sorry for, but they give them a smartphone and a flattering picture and they can reach other insane people, and they form this insane nexus. It's a spider web of crazy people. Social media is like a global city, but cities breed filth and degeneracy. In a city, you can be anonymous. Using the example of id, ego, superego, a mildly troubled person within the city's protection of anonymity has the freedom to wallow in pure lizard brain thinking. Nobody holds them accountable. The globalists destroyed the extended family, the tribe, the church, nationalism, any source of roots they had to sever. Because the rootless people are easily destroyed and easily led. And they're easily scared. And if you make people scared, you can control them, which is always ask for facts and evidence. Stop just responding. Say, hold on a sec. Who are you? What's your bias? And where are your facts and evidence? Now, who has rebutted your argument? And you go, oh. We just want you to rely on fear. The sky is falling. No fear here. Facts and evidence and logic. The new source of input are Hollywood, Bolshevik teachers, and media. The new parents are the various agents of the state. All the state can do is lock you up, give you welfare, and continue the cycle of oppression. When your country is nothing more than a commercial zone controlled by Israel for the benefit of China and Mexico, you're completely expendable, totally fungible, which is what that word means, but I just like that word. The goal of commercial zone America is simply to make the bankers and puppet masters more money. If you get in the way of that, they will destroy you. Black, white, brown have been made to be so busy fighting that they don't stop to wonder about why people are living in $20 million mansions when we pay taxes and donate billions to foreign countries. The far left and right actually has a lot in common, but the billionaires pay the far left to keep them tilting at windmills. The wealthy don't fund a group so that they will take their money away. They control Antifa and BLM. And here's the thing with all the pronoun stuff. It's a bunch of sand in the lubricated gears of society. It annoys people in a time when people are already really annoyed. People have been using sex-based pronouns for a very long time, and I don't even know how long. Several thousand years, probably. When a bunch of childish, blue-haired weirdos decided to start up this nonsense that it's trickled down from universities, professors, you know who. We know it's just obese, bored people who want some attention. That's it. It's not a real organic evolution of the lexicon. It's 100% astroturf, which if you've never heard that expression, it's a cool expression. It means it's not grassroots. It's not started from the populace. It's started from the man behind the curtain sort of thing. From some Soros or Rothschilds funded university. Oh, it's not directly funded from them. Yeah, it's funded from like a two steps removed umbrella corporation. If you trace it back to the source is those two guys I just named. That's how umbrella corporations work. We all know how language feels when new words are created organically. What's going on now is fake. It's very, very fake. It's just cultural Marxism pushed by the worst people on earth. If you capitulate on pronouns like society did on trans kids and gay adoptions and marriage or drag queen story hour, and I'm not saying all those things are bad, I'm just saying there are things along the slippery slope line that we have capitulated on. It's time to stop trying to placate the mentally ill. We're only a few years away before they get rid of or lower the age of consent. Then they'll start deleting anyone past 80 who can't pay a tax to stay alive because they're no longer useful and they're a warden of the state, a burden. Right now, they delete babies and sell their parts. Sorry, I should have had a trigger warning for that. The monsters have been building a nightmare for a long time, but we're already there. Do you remember the vermin who were describing how they would delete babies after they were born? A society that has these monsters in it is already in deep trouble. If someone talks about deleting kids, a healthy society would express their displeasure with the monsters and probably put them on a rocket ship to Mars. I think what I'm trying to say is that we're dealing with people you can't compromise with because they are authoritarians. They will never be satisfied because they want to control people. Think how insane they are. They want to control speech, force you to speak certain words, compelled speech, and censor you from other words. Their replacement of the father with the state has destroyed the family, which over the decades has resulted in huge homeless camps on the West Coast. You can see them all on YouTube. It's truly horrific how far we have come in 2021. And what is honestly looking like the diverse abortion that was America collapsing in on itself. A rule of thumb with people getting along is do your thing as long as you leave people the F alone. That rule of tolerance has gone out the window. The example of the Star Wars guy and the city councilman, the owner of the store let people knew how he felt. If you don't like it, you don't like him, the sign, you just don't go to the store. You don't go confront the guy and have someone film it sneakily. and then stand outside his store yelling that trans women are women, or trans, yes, whatever the guy was yelling. He was yelling like a crazy person. It's like, that's not tolerating tolerant of the old man's beliefs. He has different beliefs than you. If you don't like it, stay away. And it makes you look like a crazy person. It also makes you look like you're using your position of authority to intimidate this guy. And then what happened was Antifa gathered together to form a protest, and they found out like there'd be a counter protest there that was outnumbering them. So they said, well, we'll wait until it dies down before we go and burn down his store, which, you know, maybe they'll do, maybe not, but they're definitely going to cause some damage to the guy. The only thing is he's 75. He has no more F's to give. It turns out that the left wing can't tolerate people with different viewpoints. We were the tolerant ones all along. The people who are arguing for free speech, the left points at them and goes, oh, those guys are Nazis. The ones who want free speech are Nazis. It's like, that's a whole nother video, this concept of normalizing that term. It's like, you say this soccer mom of 4 who wants free speech is the Nazi. Well, then what have you just done to them? You made them the good guys. Is that where you're going? I mean, were you hoping to foment like a civil war and just like put your cards on the table and say, yeah, anyone who disagrees with us is the enemy who must be put in a gulag or turned into Soylent Green? Because that kind of seems like where these people are going with this. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, support my vitally, vitally important work on coffee, or join the channel, get a little icon next to your name, and it will give you a wrench in the chat. All right, guys, I will see you all next episode.